Hello everybody, my name is Patrick. This is a instructional video on how to hook up refrigeration gauges for you to perform whatever service you need to do and disconnect them with a minimal amount of refrigerant loss. These gauges have been calibrated. 0 does read 0. The next thing we will do is make sure these gauges are compatible with the refrigeration type in this unit. It is R410A. If you look at these gauges, you'll see R410A, and it is the pink line, both gauges. High pressure gauge, positive pressure up to 800 psi. Low pressure gauge is 0 to 350 and reads a vacuum in inches of mercury. So our next step would be to check these gauges and make sure they are in good operating condition. I'm going to start by checking the O-rings in the Schrader compressor. There's one of them right there. That looks good. That one looks good. That one also looks good. I'm going to check the O-rings in the front of the gauge manifold. There's no compressor, it's just an O-ring. That one looks good. That one looks good. And that one looks good. So all our depressors and all our O-rings are in good working order. Make sure everything is tight. Got these ball valves in the back, coming very, very handy for isolating the gauges from the actual system. And we'll start by hooking up the high side and purging the air out of it. These caps that are on the unit, when you take them off, make sure you turn them, the O-ring up, so they don't get contaminated with dirt or whatever it may be on whatever unit you're working on. Alright, so we're going to hook up this high side. I'm going to crack it loose a little bit right here. As soon as that refrigerant starts coming through, I'm going to tighten it up. That'll push the atmosphere out of the line, and it will just be refrigerant in the line. And that's the high side. Alright, Mr. Jose, would you turn that unit on for me?
That's Jose, by the way. We're going to wait about 2 minutes for the low side pressure to become as low as it's ever going to be. So when we hook it up and unhook it, we can minimize our loss of refrigerant. Well, while we're doing that, let's get a roll call. Jose, we got Pat Dog Patrick. We got D. You got me. Call me Fat. No name. Just nicknames. His name isn't really Patrick, you guys. Pat Dog. Pat Dog. And we're doing this, we're students at a technical college. So give us our props and give us our credit. Working men of the workforce. I say about another 15 seconds.
About right now?
Almost, about 10 more seconds. You know we have critics. Go for it.
Alright, let's do it.
Now hooking up the low side.
Same thing with the low side. Purge this line of any non-refrigerants. Alright, so we have positive pressure in both gauges. High pressure is about 265 and our low pressure is about 120. The work, whatever needs to be done on this has been done, completed. Now we will take these lines loose. What we need to do to minimize refrigerant loss is to take from the high side and have the unit actually suck the refrigerant back into the low side to minimize our refrigerant loss. And how we're going to do this is, first thing I'm going to do is isolate the high side of a compressor from a gauge set. What we would need to do is purge our yellow line. To do that, crack this back a little bit. Do this one from the back side. Open this up just a little bit. And that takes care of that line. Alright. What we want to do is, it's isolated. It does have refrigerant in the system. We need to get it from this manifold set back into the unit. We are isolated right here, so no more refrigerant will come out. What I want to do is open this one up, which will allow the high pressure refrigerant to go into the low side of the manifold gauges. Now, to purge what liquid is left in these gauges and hoses into the system, I'm going to crack that valve ever so slightly. You see the high pressure gauge start coming down, low pressure has gone up to 150. Now it looks like we're down to about 125 on both gauges. So, we should be able to disconnect them now, at least the low pressure side. I'm going to turn this ball valve off, disconnect this. Alright, Jose, you want to go ahead and shut it down? I'm going to shut this unit down, let these gauges equalize. That way the pressure will be low again on this high side, and we can take this gauge off with a minimal loss of refrigerant. And the only loss we're really going to have is between the connection here and your ball valve. And now we got to wait 2-3 minutes for everything to equalize.
Alright, in the meantime, while we're waiting, we have to make sure that we always follow these steps every single time we are going to hook up gauges or use any type of gauge equipment with the air conditioning unit. And they have to be followed to EPA standards due to the fact that they will fine you $27,500 if you don't follow their regulations. And now if somebody catches you and they report you violating their regulations, they're going to get $10,000 as a reward. So you don't want to make somebody rich off your mistakes.
You got anything to add, D? Where did D go? D somewhere being studious. Nah, he right here with me.
You do not want to breathe this refrigerant. It is definitely not healthy for you, and it is illegal to vent it into the atmosphere. So you want to try to keep that to a minimum. And as Jose said, they will fine you a whole lot of money. So now all we've got left to do is disconnect this high pressure gauge, which you want to do as quickly as you can because there's a little bit of pressure. Put these caps back on. And that ends our video of properly hooking up and disconnecting refrigeration gauges. it was somewhat informative.
Thank you.